Ah, you don't want to hear that. All right. Okay. Guess we have to somehow sum up the complete and total horse hockey bull jive that was the midterm election. Woo! Wow, I feel like I just got taken for a ride. Pretty good ride, man. Like, no, I didn't fall for it. I mean, I'm along for the ride, but not so much. It's just, what difference does it make? We'll ask ourselves that question. A lot of people, major conspiracy theorists who think that elections could be fixed. These are the crazy people in our society and around the world that we just have to get rid of them, because all elections are monitored by governments and the power elite, and they're obviously without flaws. There's never been a fixed election, and anyone that believes that has some like mental issues. Oh no, it's the other way around. All elections are fixed. The very word election, if you look back, going all the way back to the Greeks, means fixed. Now, while that is not true, selections are fixed. You take some of you went to high school, and let's say the popular person was running for president of your high school, and they get all the love, and people are helping them put their posters up, and if you don't vote for them, then whatever. And I would be the guy that would revolt against that because it's revolting. But it's a shoe-in. I mean, let's face it, the cheerleader, the jock, or whatever, they're going to win the election for high school president. And one of the things I like to tell my son is that life is not like high school, but it is. It's exactly like high school. So yeah, man, elections are fixed right from the very beginning. As I said on my last Thursday show, quoting the immortal Turd Blossom, I mean, Republicans they don't have social media figured out. They don't have ballot harvesting figured out. And they are down about 5 to 10 points right when you start off, because the majority of the media are Democrats. And now they just admit it. Back in my day, when I was a kid, Walter Cronkite and others, they would just pretend that they were neutral and they were just reporting. They're just reporters and they're reporting on events. And and I guess we kind of ate that up a little bit. Well, what we don't want are unstable people running our government. What a joke. I mean, that is the biggest oxymoron ever. I mean, who would want to be? There are some good people here and there, but who would want to put themselves through that for a minimal amount of money? Because let's face it, if you're really very qualified in your life, you could probably get a much better job working for a Global Corp or what have you. But the perks, and one of the perks is revolving door. Once you're in government, then you get to go work and sit on a board for a corporation, barely even go to work. Use your networking and your connections that your ill-gotten gains in order to further enrich the life of yourself and your family and your friends. And it's not bloodline, it's nepotism. Bloodline, scary. Nepotism, a real thing, which basically means bloodline. So yesterday, the Trumpster announced that he'll be running for president again. And I'm really mixed on this. because it took me several years to understand where everyone was coming from, why everyone hated him so much, why people love him so much, and what he really is. You know, the old adage, we're all three people: what people think we are, what we think we are, and what we really are. So I kind of put things into that blender, so to speak. So I'm kind of mixed on it. On the one hand, I don't want to go through it. I don't know about y'all. Do you want to do another 2 or 7 years of this? It's been about 7 years. We've never been more divided. And to me, it just reeks of psyop. There's no way you're going to win the GOP nomination and run for president, let alone win it and be president for 4 years, if you're not in the game somehow. Yeah, there are, man, not in the 21st century. There are no accidents in politics. Who said that? Who? First one in the chat, because I know who said it. I mean, I think I know who's famous for saying it, but who actually said it? There are no accidents in politics. You can bet that everything was planned that way. Anyone? I see some people here. We just started our live stream, so if you're watching this on Memorex, obviously you'll be too late. And I'm giving you time to look it up, but you won't get the answer. You'll get half the answer, but not the actual answer. So I don't know. Should we give that a few seconds or something for anyone to come up with that? Who said it? There are no accidents in politics. If something happens, you could bet it was planned that way. One of you? Man, you don't have to be shy. It's a chat. You just type it into the chat. I have a number. You can call in if you want to be on this live broadcast that we're doing today. In real life, man, there is no real life. There's no such thing as real life anymore. There is no IRL. That's stupid. I mean, except here. This is my real bedroom. Or sorry, the basement I live in, my dead mother's basement. Unfortunately, we got this wasp problem in here. So the cable company came and they drilled a hole in the wall here to put in a cable that was already here. They were quite incompetent. I think the guy who seemed nice enough and was installing our cable into this house, he was on the phone the whole time. I don't know if he was talking about the job or getting help. He was speaking Farsi, which I kind of know just through my travels. And he fucked everything up. And so now that it's cold here and very cold, nice day, but cold, we have this hole in the wall that all the wasps want to go hide out in, and they come in here to the bedroom and die. It's kind of fun. Hey, you never know. Maybe you'll sit on one. Look, I stepped on a wasp nest last year because we had a water leak. Don't get me started on how expensive water is now. I'll get back to the quote to Trump. I'm going to see if you guys could say it. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you, FDR. But he said it. He repeated it. It was Bernard Baruch that actually taught him that. And Bernard Baruch he was the Henry Kissinger of his day. Okay, look him up. Look that guy up. And that linked the banks up with the politicians in a way that had really not been done so much. I mean, if you look at your history, the industrialists didn't own the banks. They just had so much money and they had nothing left to spend it on. They just started buying the banks. And buying is one way to say it. They just took them over. It was a hostile takeover, and they took over the banks in such a way, or integrated with them and cohabitated with them. But So, Dag Lord, you win. It was FDR that said that. There are no mistakes in politics. If something happens, you better believe it happened for a reason. It was planned that way. Nice paraphrase, Jack. Not the actual quote, but Bernard Baruch is the one that taught him that and the one that said it first. So, technically, you win. We have nothing to give you, unfortunately. I don't know. I love these YouTubers or whatever that give out $100 every show. It's, man, if I only could make $100 a show, shit, man, I'd be on fire. By the way, speaking of which, we are looking for a booker right now. I just posted something on my Facebook. I need a booker because my life is just so crazy. It's all you do is call the person up and book them. No, it's actually really complex. And some people you book, especially if you're going after good people, it's a lot of emails back and forth. It's time consuming. I don't want to scare you away, but especially someone that has connections. Now, the pay for that is commensurate with how well you do. So basically, you're an intern until we can lift all tides and all boats. And then you'll be part of something. But it would be fun. You could use my name to talk to some fun people. I don't know. Does that help you? So we are looking for a booker. If anyone wants to do that, you can write me at jackblood@hotmail.com. I'll be interested in it because we have a good show for you tomorrow. Or we do a radio show, if you guys didn't know, on Ochelli.com. Ochelli. That's banned on YouTube, so you can't watch or listen to anything we do on YouTube. It's pretty decently listened to, and I put a lot of my time and effort into that and use a lot of my contacts. We have Ivan Eland on tomorrow, who's an old libertarian think tank dude who's going to kind of give us a roadmap on how to survive the next 2 years. But okay, so going back to the selection, obviously there was no red wave. The only red wave was blood. Thank you very much. It was a blood moon the day of the selection. And I'm like, all right, that seems about perfect. Ominous warning, blood moon, the day of the election. That's pretty ominous. And also it's that fireball comet time of year when the earth passes through. If you look at it, I don't know if you guys know anything about astronomy or space. It's pretty easy to see on June 30th and November-ish, we pass through this ring of debris. So when it doesn't happen June 30th or November 11th-ish, 11/11-ish, month of November, it's probably space junk. That would lead me to a whole other topic, and I don't want to get too distracted. So, all right, so there was no red wave. Scary Lake didn't win governor. I can't believe, this is what I can't believe. Having lived in and run a major market 50,000 watt radio station in Phoenix, I just can't believe that state has turned completely blue now. I'm sorry. And the same thing with Atlanta. I get it. There are urban population centers, and I really don't care either way. I just want, freedom is the answer. What's the question, But I know Katie Hobbs ain't freedom. I mean, that I know not freedom when I see it. Is that the way to put it? I know something that is not freedom. I may not always know what freedom is, but I know what isn't freedom. And what isn't freedom, and I'm sorry to disappoint my Democrat friends, it's not Katie Hobbs. She's an airhead. She's an airhead to be used by the real power brokers that are going to run the state of Arizona. And I guess the same thing can be said with Nevada, though I believe they put a Republican governor in because the other guy messed it up so bad during COVID and screwed everybody so much they would have killed us all to replace him. There's something. I don't know. That's what I was saying. I just voted everyone out that including Trump that co-signed COVID mandates, vaccines, all of that. And that is probably one of the worst things that's happened in my life. And I lived through and reported on the very day that it happened on another 50,000 watt station in the East Coast about 9/11. But they worked that thing. But I don't know. I think the 9/11 guys sat and looked at the COVID guys and went, damn, I didn't know we could do all that. So it's actually, so if you're a Republican, you'll like it. It's actually going to work out pretty good. Now, allegedly, the Republicans are going to get control of Congress. And that brings up a whole other issue, which I'd love to get to if I can remember it, how the Freedom Caucus is saying conditionally no Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House if they get to do that, unless he agrees to certain terms. The terms are we can get rid of you anytime we want. This is, and I think the point has been made that the squad and the progressives that are in the Democrat Party never held Nancy Pelosi accountable. They never did, and they were scared of her. And there's actually clips of her berating AOC and telling her what to do, and AOC saying, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. So I think it's actually, we'll see what happens with that. So there's a Freedom Caucus in both the Senate. They're all together, and they're defined as extreme right wingers, very right. And I think they're right, all right, but maybe not the way they're being portrayed in the media. It's too bad. If we just didn't have abortion on the plate, they would be looked at as who they are. They're the Freedom Caucus. Yes, I said caucus. Can you say that on YouTube? Hopefully I don't get a strike for that. They allegedly are wielding enough votes, not many, but enough votes to kind of run and hold, like Manchin and the other chick in the Democrat Party. Just a couple of votes can hold your entire party hostage if you want it. So we'll see how that, I did want to talk about it, and I just did. We'll see how all that pans out, right? But, right? You hear? Yeah. But I think it's good. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, as you probably know. I really don't have a dog in this hunt. My dog is Freedom. My dog is Dingbat. That's her name. But other than that, my dog in this political world and the political hunt is Freedom, and that's what I want. And I'm going to vote for that. If I vote with my money, I'm going to vote for the whole, take your boot off the neck of poor people, because I do speak for the working poor. If I speak for anyone, no matter what race, persuasion, political party you belong to. But I guess if you're a Republican, you got creamed. You could ask yourself why that happened. It's money. Let's face it. It's money, and then, you're just not as organized. You're just not as effective. You don't understand modern voting, I guess, post, after COVID. There's before COVID, BC, and after COVID, AC. So things have changed, but they were leading that way anyway. So if you're a Republican, and especially if you're, one Donald Trump and whoever else is going to be jumping into this race, which now is going to happen for the next 2-3 years. You could blame it on them. Well, we didn't win the Senate. We barely, and it's still up for debate. We barely won the House. The Democrats are in charge of the White House. And as everyone knows, the Republicans have the Supreme Court. But I'll fight back on that, because once you're in the Supreme Court, you're not Democrat or Republican. You're Opus Dei or Zionist. But I mean, I'm sorry, but that's who they put in there. You have to be one or the other for the most part. Look it up. Sotomayor, which means Grove, the mayor of the Grove Punisher. Sonia Sotomayor, that was Obama's pick. She was in the female Bohemian Grove, the Belizean Grove, they called it. They have one of those. No. They're not, at this point, they could be originalists and use that, or they could be new thinkers, will reinterpret the Constitution. I guess you can look at it that way too. But in either case, I think, by the time 2024 rolls around, November, we're now looking at exactly 2 years from now, there'll be a vote on who gets to be the president, not the CEO, the president. Whatever happens, I can guarantee you it was no accident. It was planned that way. But if you're mad, that's fine. And apparently you're not mad. What do you have to say? What kind of in real life thing do you have to do or say to get people to interact with you, to make what you say matter or be important? I don't know. I mean, I've only read like 1 million books. Pretty much. I've only interviewed thousands of movers and shakers. Oh, what do I know? I know I got to do the same thing with my friends. And because I'm confident in what I say, some people think I'm putting them down because I don't acquiesce to what's in the New York Times or the Washington Post, the Bezos Post. One of my friends, speaking of billionaire media owners, one of my friends, Jason Rink, who's been on this show, he has a new documentary about the Q guy, the guy with the horns that was all dressed up with the Scottish war paint, who went to prison. Pretty interesting. I've just seen some outtakes from the film. It's pretty interesting, and I don't think editorially they take one side or the other. So I don't know, man. That seems okay to me. I mean, don't we want to kind of know about this guy? Shouldn't we know who he is? But banned from Twitter now again. That's some Elon Musk bullshit right there. Bullshit. Horse hockey. Bull jive. That's how I roll. So much for that. We posted a story. The real reason that Elon Musk bought Twitter for about twice or 3 times more than it was worth was because he wants to get back into the PayPal business. He wants to create one of the most massive pay sites, intermediaries, where they skim like $1 or $2 off of every transaction ever in the history of planet Earth. And that is a cash cow, a money maker that could make him a trillionaire. I mean, basically, you're kind of like a bank. This is what the investment houses do, is they're the same as the odds makers in Vegas. They don't really care. They don't bet. Odds makers in Vegas don't bet on one team or the other. They make their money off of the VIG. Did you know that? Yeah. So what they want is as many people gambling and is as even as they can get it for both sides of whatever the bet's going to be, so that they can vig on everyone. Now, there is ways to manipulate that vig so you come out better, and that's certainly part of the art of setting odds. Well, it's not that much different in business and in politics. So the vig in this case would be maybe you wipe out PayPal. I mean, now I don't know who was behind all that bad PayPal press and everything that had happened, and who benefits from something like that. When you really get down deep into something like that, man, you kind of start getting to where the truth is, that all the money is in the vig. The vig is life. Everything is the vig. Especially if you don't have any outlay, you have no higher investment. Elon was one of the founders of PayPal, so he certainly knows how to do that. And so I'm kind of like buying into that little theory, if it's a theory. It's makes sense to me, and that's why he just kicked off one of my friends off of free speech guy, big free speech guy. That's why I just kicked off Jason Rink again for posting a documentary. Speaking of documentaries, if you hadn't heard, there was a huge, the 13th annual Doc New York. It's a awards ceremony for documentary films, all of which I love. I'm a voracious consumer of documentary work, and someday I'll make one. But it's a lot of hard work, and it's expensive, and there's really no thanks or gratuity for it. But people do it because they're invested in it and they love it. And one of the winners was a Azov Battalion guy. Said there they are at the star-studded event for documentary film festival. You're a conspiracy theorist. You can't have a documentary here. But a guy that's a Nazi, who has a Nazi swastika tattoo, who probably killed gypsies in the West and children in the East in Donbass, as a voracious mass murderer, psychopath, of which I think Ukraine might contain more per square foot than almost anywhere else on Earth. Other than Tacoma. No, just kidding, Tacoma. They're meddling and awarding Nazis while telling us there are no Nazis. We're telling us that if I slightly disagree with your mask policy or your vaccine policy or what have you, I'm a Nazi. I don't know. Hey, I do say, even now, get your booster shot. Please, everyone, get as many shots as possible. Go consult with your doctor. I am not a medical expert, okay? I just know a bunch of them. Now, the medical experts I know would say, but you seek out. I just want it to be known. I don't want to put out. I'm not trying to put out any medical disinformation. I'm really putting out music disinformation. Nah, I don't really see any need to continue with this at this point. I don't know. I just wanted to come on and say hi. So I'm at the point where I wanted to just talk. I just wanted to have someone to talk to, and just like so many of you, and find some like-minded people, but it just really hasn't happened too much. And I'm really physically at the point now, and we're under the gun money-wise and everything. Like, why am I wasting my time doing this? I know. That's the whole issue. Nobody really cares what I have to say, and I'm pretty much just wasting my time. All the knowledge that I gained in the books that I'm reading like 4 books right now all at once. This one This one, this is my favorite book right now. See it? Get it. Yeah. Oh, I know what I did there. I used toilet paper as a bookmarker. That way, if I'm on the throne and I need it, it's there for me. Yeah. So let's all agree that what I've been doing here the last few months is a completely failed project, and I should just stop. So I'm gonna start looking at this as just basically talking to myself in a closet. Maybe it can be saved. I think the Thursday show, it's 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific time every Thursday, and it's on a whole bunch of different apps. Just that it's banned from YouTube, which, believe me, I like it because there's things I can say on that show that I can't say here, and I don't have to qualify and put disclaimers on it. But anyway, I think we are all in agreement that it's a failed comeback. That's pretty cool, right? All right, goodbye, good night.